Good day, everyone. My name is Adristea Susi, and I will be going to discuss the practice and movement of Philippine visual arts. As quoted from one of the Filipino artists, Vilroy Godoy, Coulson, kung ano ang pinanggalingan mo, ilagay mo sa canvas. This implies that Philippine arts change with time. Every stage of history creates typical artwork reflecting its significant event. Next is the key movements in Philippine arts. The motif and craft of visual arts are affected by time. Thus, the Philippine visuals have their motifs reflecting the new generation. In aesthetic parlance, the styles of art change with time. These are called key movements. Movements are style in art shaped by artists with a common philosophy or goal. These movements can be born out of the social climates that they became popular in or be made as responses to previous movements. Most of the key art movements found in the Philippines have Western origin. Now, let us discuss the art movements in the Philippines. The first one is the Baroque. Baroque is a grandeur, sensuous richness, drama, dynamism, movement, tension, emotional exuberance that gives off a tendency to blur distinctions between the various arts. So, Baroque, an art movement that arose in Europe during 17th and 18th century. This movement was characterized by extravagant imagery through use of extensive decoration and ornamentation. Um, this example this example is the Binondo Church in Manila or the Minor Basilica and National Shrine of San Lorenzo Ruiz. This church is recognized as one of the architecture that emphasized the Baroque movement. The next movement is the Neoclassicism. It's characterized by the use of straight lines, a smooth paint surface, the depiction of light, a minimal use of color, and a clear, crisp definition of forms. So Neoclassicism is an art style followed soon after the Baroque movement at the start of the 19th century. It harkens back to the style of the classical period of the Greeks and Romans with an emphasis on symmetry, order, and simplicity. So this example is the National Museum of the Philippines. Another one is the Romanticism. It's focused primarily on emotions, feelings, and moods of all sorts, including spirituality, imagination, mystery, and fervor. The subject matter is verified widely, including landscapes, revolution, and tranquil beauty. The brushwork for Romantic art became looser and less precise. Romanticism is an art movement characterized by an emphasis on the senses and emotion, sometimes seen as a response to the sober methods preferred in Neoclassicism, as Romanticism also became prominent during the 19th century. In this movement, Juan Luna is the most prominent Filipino artist with a blend of some impressionist style in his work. This example is the Manila Central Post Office. Another movement is the realism, is the accurate, detailed, unembellished depiction of nature or of contemporary life. It rejects imaginative idealization in favor of close observation of outward appearance. Realism is an art movement from the 19th century heavily pushed for the art style of naturalism that aimed to represent nature the way it truly appears. So, from the word realism, it is what we really see. And this example is the Stonebreakers by Gustave Courbet. Next one is the Impressionism. Each artist under this movement has his or her own unique way of expressing emotions. In order to express emotion, the subjects are often distorted or exaggerated. And this art movement, it made popular in the 20th century, went for a style that did not necessarily concern itself with observation, often using geometric shapes and highly intense colors. Other artists used distortion and dull colors to depict various art. This example is Dancer Expressionist art by Katz. Cubism. Objects and figures are broken down into distinct planes and reassembled into abstracted forms, rather than creating the illusion of depth. This dynamic arrangement merged foreground and background to emphasize the flatness of the artist's canvas. Cubism is an art movement that started around 1907, made famous by Pablo Picasso, which utilizes the use of figures like cones, cubes, cylinders to depict everything in nature. This example is an art by Jean Metzinger. The next one is the Impressionism. Impressionism is the 19th century art movement characterized by relatively small, thin, yet visible brushstrokes, open composition, emphasis on accurate depiction of light in its changing qualities, ordinary subject matter, and inclusion of movements as a crucial portrayal of its entirety. This art movement became famous in the 19th century with artists like Claude Monet of France. This movement was concerned with capturing the impression of light on objects and scenery. This example is The Harvesting Rice by Fernando Amarsolo. Surrealism is an artwork that uses juxtaposition or surprising shifts in scale to question the nature of reality, perception, and language in absurdist fashions and scenes. Surrealism, made famous in the early 1920s by artists like Salvador Dali. This art movement aimed to depict the subconscious of the artist. This art in here is an example of art by Andres Barrio Quinto. The next movement is the Abstract Expressionism. Is an expression of reality portrayed in a non-representational statement with line, color, and size, as well as the aggressive mingling of colors, shape, and forms, creating a painting of pure thought and emotion. Um, Made famous by the works of Jackson Pollock, this art movement pointed out that the creation of the art was the art itself, not just the painting. The next one is the social realism. Is an artwork that gives accurate portrayal of the scene and characters without embellishment. This point out political and economic corruption that shows flaws in human nature, underscoring nature as powerful tool. Um, Social realism is a broad description on different artwork whose themes to beating commentaries on social political issues of the country. This art is by Antipas de Lotavo, Itak sa Puso ni Mang Juan. Antipas de Lovato is a popular Filipino artist who has committed his art to revealing some of the harsh realities experienced by ordinary individuals in Philippine society. The next movement is the figurativism. It's dependent artwork that includes line, shape, color, light and dark, mass, volume, texture, and perspective and harmonious synergy. The elements of the design could also play a role in creating other types of imagery. This movement is one of the most popular movements, as figurative art is representational, meaning it is derived from real object sources. This example is an art of Pablo Picasso. The next movement is the conceptualism. It's all about ideas and meanings rather than works of art. It is characterized by its use of text as well as imagery along with a variety of ephemeral, typical everyday materials and found objects. Conceptual art in this movement, the idea is more important than the object and encompasses site-specific art installation, three-dimensional assemblages of discards and non-art elements, performance, and video art. Some of the works are ephemeral or temporary and therefore requires documentation. This example is by Roberto Chabet. The last movement of art in the Philippines is the pop surrealism or lowbrow art. Often emphasizes a sense of humor, something that is gleeful, impish, and sarcastic. Most lowbrow artworks are painting, but these are also toys, digital art, and sculpture. So, um, pop surrealism is a distinctive genre of art that is primarily characterized by an interest in popular culture and imaginative interpretation of commercial products. Renowned for its bold imagery, bright color palette, and repetitive approach inspired by mass production, the movement is celebrated for its unique and recognizable style. This movement presented a challenge to the tradition of fine art by including imagery from popular and mass culture, such as advertising. Example is made by Mark Ryden, The Awakening the Moon. I hope you learned something from my report, and that's all. Thank you.